Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the 1% Better podcast with your host, Josh Williams. I'm happy to be back in the seat, being able to do this after a busy, kind of a chaotic January for myself. And many of y'all might be feeling the same way. January got away from me. My best laid plans to have the best year and hit a lot of my goals starting out the gate fast. It was more like I took a step, slipped in the mud, and fell down. And I am in that position with you all. I had wonderful plans for January to get back on my health routine, my work, development, all of that. And I kind of shot a lot of duds this January. And so understanding that you might be in the same boat. And this is typically where maybe we set some good goals and we fell flat. There might be some of us that actually did really, really well, and that is awesome. Congratulations. And there might be some of us that are in between, like, I did this well, I did that well. It's always good to stop and reassess where you're at, whether you're being successful or you started out much slower than you thought. Because what this allows us to do for the person that's doing well, that allows us to keep the momentum. Because at some point, you might have just hit a hot streak where your schedule was running well, things weren't that chaotic, and you were just able to lock in and do it. And so it's assessing, okay, what am I going to do to keep this momentum going, protect my schedule, X, Y, Z. For some of us, maybe we just did way too much. And so this is a time to refrain from saying, I'm just going to quit, throw everything out, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Nope, it's time to make adjustments. And so understand that January gave us data of what happened, what went well, what didn't go well, and why. So what did we learn? Well, there had to be some wins in there. So what went well? How did that go well? What was the reasoning for that? Maybe it was, what? I didn't get the best workouts in, but I still got in there once a week. And, I still was able to keep my lunch walks. Maybe it was that. What didn't go well, maybe, the time, I planned to do too much. I was planning on planning all my meals. I was planning on, reading and education. I was planning on X, Y, Z. So maybe we just did way too much and we didn't realize that. And so what the common mistakes is what I just said was trying to do too much. We set out this goal of how we're going to get, how we're going to get better, or how we're going to improve, or all the best laid plans. I mean, I had many of them, many rhythms set up, the structure set up, but you miss a week, then you miss another week. So, example, me and my wife sitting down each Sunday for planning the week. We were really strong for the first 2 weeks, and then something messed it up. I don't know if a kid was sick or something interrupted it, or I was away, and we have to get back on track. And it's protecting that rhythm, and that happens a lot. It's going well, and then something gets in the way. So, again, a lot of times when we set plans, we set them on an ideal week and not what's a realistic week. So we might plan like 110%, and where realistically maybe 65 of what we planned is actually going to get done. And so understanding that and breaking it down to more chunk size pieces. The other thing is we used momentum as the catalyst to get us to move and take action because it was high, where the reality is maybe we didn't put the structures in place. And like I was saying, I put the rhythm and structure in place that was supposed to carry that. But then, of course, you also have to be accountable to one another to keep doing it. So those are kind of the big ones that I see is trying to do too much, and then also planning that you're going to have an ideal schedule, and then expecting the motivation to carry you through all of this. So we're at this point now. We have crossroads. Just give up, go back to the lifestyle that we were doing before. Super easy, not really exciting. Or lean into the hard and reassess how I can do better. And so for me, what this looked like is I did a podcast a little while ago about how excited I was about my habit tracker. Still am. I built a new one based off the goals I had, and I got rid of some of the habits that I felt pretty good with. And then I realized that those in some ways were a little bit of a keystone habit. They were easy, low level habits that just kind of get my day starting. And when I stopped tracking them, I stopped, going as much into the habit tracker and checking that. And so I sat down this week, reflected on, okay, what went well, what didn't, why didn't this? And for a lot of this for me was the structure. I gave up on the key habit, which is two things. And I talked about this before, probably because it's hard for me as well, but is planning the week and planning the day and scheduling things. So as simple as, if I'm having lunch today, what is my lunch that I'm going to be having today? What's my dinner I'm going to be having today? So if nutrition is important to you, okay, if I'm working out, what is my workout for the day? Or if you're working with a coach, like at Sperling, when am I working out this week? And so setting the structure, not just leaving it up in the air that I'm going to get 3 workouts in. I'm going to plan my dinners. Making them more granular is really important. So for some of us that went too big, maybe we need to shrink the goal a little bit. So, for workout ways, maybe we're trying to get, 7 days of activity in. It's like, you know what? 5 is realistic. I was able to hit, 3 to 5 there. Or it's, hey, the goal is to be active every day, but if everything goes to heck, I can get a 10-minute walk in. And that's going to be that trigger of, hey, I did something. I'm still on track. It didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I still did something to move the needle and to check that box. And then, again, we really need to get better at, with any of these, is blocking in times, specific. So days, specific time. A lot of times where we fail is taking that extra 5 minutes and looking at the schedule and saying, okay, exactly when am I doing that? And then the second part of that is then protecting that time as well. And at the end of the day is to expect imperfection. Expect that things will happen to go wrong. And what is that one thing? So example, man, I've been working a lot, been on the road a lot, stress eating. It's like, okay, I recognize the pattern. So I go to a gas station, I get something. Okay, well, so now the new plan is the only thing I can get in there if I go in there is fruit, maybe like a jerky or water. So I'm not completely getting rid of it, but I am changing the rules around what it is to stick with my ultimate goal. And so, but the biggest thing that comes back to a lot of us is the ability to just plan the day ahead. So it's have the goal, track the goal, and then also planning that goal. And so, as a reminder, hey, maybe we didn't get off to the best start, but that doesn't mean we can't restart. We have more information than we started with. So we tried to implement these things. It didn't go the way we wanted to. Some of the things may have gone well. Okay, awesome. Let's keep those rolling as our foundation. What were some of the things that didn't go well? Was it because they weren't that important to me? I didn't want to do it. I didn't structure it out enough. Why? Again, we typically have something that is going well, so we want to keep that. The other ones is just like, do I need to minimize that goal a little bit? Maybe it's too big of a chunk, so I don't need to get rid of it, but I just need to make it smaller. Or going back to, planning, did I actually have a concrete plan? Was it still kind of in the ether and I didn't bring it down to earth, to a specific place and time to be able to do that thing? So that's what I got today. Don't give up. We're just getting started. It is more information, more data to move forward and tips to continue to get better and better. Again, this is growth. It takes time to get better and change. It never, well, let's say never. It typically doesn't come easy, but you got to enjoy the journey, enjoy the game, finding how to get a little bit better each and every day. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a fantastic start to your February. And it's not a reset. You just got more data and to use to go forward to have an even better month.